good day with a view here.
Hello.
Today is Tuesday, our only real day here in Granada. So we spent most of the morning here touring the Alhambra, which is a super cool site. We really enjoyed it. Learned a lot about how different kind of cultures and religions kind of clashed here in the south of Spain between 1400s and 1600s, and it's really interesting because there's multiple different styles of architecture and obviously different cultural sites inside. Everything from Islamic mosques to residences, as well as Christian churches and Catholic churches inside. So super interesting to see, and I'm sure there's a lot of pictures here. We'll run through a few, but I think kind of the highlight for me, was the residences. I don't know about you, Kelly, but the residences really stood out to me as something that was very special to see, and especially as they lived, not in what we would consider a normal kind of, Catholic or Christian residence that we've seen across different places of Europe. So that was really neat, but I don't know, Kelly,
I think the takeaway for me is, this has changed hands over time. It was started in the 9th century, and one of the coolest things about it is, obviously at some time this was not a necessarily peaceful place, but now having, Roman Catholic and Christian, churches as well as mosques, and definitely an Islamic culture built in as well, they found a way to have this beautiful site and sort of live in religious peace across this whole city. So it's just a really interesting takeaway, and something that I think is really special to this city that you don't necessarily see everywhere.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a humongous fortress and castle, and multiple series of walls and defenses and palaces. And up behind it, they've even built fabulous gardens, and I think what they call the Generalife, which is basically a palace built just for gardens. So in the later years, the kings or I guess the rulers moved out of the actual Alhambra and up to the Generalife, so that was cool to see as well.
One of the cool but kind of funny things about this place is there are lots of wild cats, just stray cats that live here, and the city actually feeds them. They pay to feed them and give them, beds and homes, but they just wander throughout this area and are free to go wherever they like, but they have a place to eat and sleep, and are pretty peaceful to people.
left here and got lunch at a pretty local spot, walked way out of the touristy zones. Again, we kind of just bought 2 drinks, got 2 different dishes, so that was pretty hype.
Yeah, we got paella and what they called a summertime salad, which was roasted red peppers, potatoes, onions, and eggs.
Apparently October is still summer here.
Apparently.
So that was good. And then we walked around, got some more coffee, and now we're back at the Alhambra looking at a few of the different things that we haven't seen yet. Few views over the city. Coming back after touring the Alhambra a bit more, honestly, we just kind of went to the top of the towers and saw a bunch of cool views. Took a bunch of videos around the surrounding areas. It was neat. I mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing is just the impressive views over that region between the mountains, the Sierra Nevada range, plus the like whitewashed houses that are across the I guess hill from the Alhambra is just really beautiful. So we just sat up there and admired it for a little while.
You could see the caves where the flamenco dancers were kind of started. You could see lots and lots of kind of vineyards in other parts of the city, the mountains. It's really pretty.
Yeah. So from there we were just wandering around the same kind of hill that the Alhambra is on, but outside of the gates, and just wandered across this giant mansion. So it was just open to walk in. So we walked in, and you couldn't go in the actual like home itself, but you could tour the grounds, and it had just some fantastic gardens. They were really interesting because there was obviously a spring like further up the hill than the house was, and so it had like Roman aqueduct style like water features that brought water through all of the gardens that just naturally watered it. So that was just pretty cool to see, and again had some really cool views.
Lots of different nature and kind of wildlife in the ponds and gardens as well. Lots of ducks and fish, and they were just really, there's a peacock. They were really trying to sort of re-inhabitate the area. And I think there were frogs and things like that too.
Yeah, so that was neat. So shortly after that, we went to dinner, and we actually went to the Moroccan place that we couldn't get into the first night. Left a little bit of a sour taste, but now I realize that they had left a lot of the restaurant open just for COVID reasons, like separating tables, which I actually appreciated. The food was amazing. Couldn't even tell you what the dishes are called. I probably wouldn't do the names justice, but basically it was just a bunch of different salads, some hummus, chicken and lamb skewers with rice and vegetables. And
the chicken was so tender, it just fell apart, almost like pulled pork or something.
Yeah. And just the spices, not like hot spices, but just like flavorful spices that everything was cooked with. Just like unbelievable. Never had anything like it.
And the rice was interesting too. They put like cinnamon in their rice, which is not something I've ever had on rice before. But it was a really interesting kind of different flavor to it, but still good.
Yeah, so that was really cool. We ended up both getting a juice too. So like I guess alcohol is obviously not a huge part of that culture, but the juices are. So I got an unsweetened lemon juice. Like basically it was just straight lemon juice with peppermint in it.
They called it lemonade.
And they call it lemonade. So that was kind of interesting. It was very sour. It was a little tart, but I got through it. I mean, it was good. It was very interesting. And obviously that was like the number one thing on their like juice menu. So I just went for it.
Yeah, the juice, I had a red berries juice, I think. It was orange juice with red berries, so pomegranates, I think, raspberries. I was much sweeter than Kyle's, but it was definitely good still. And then dessert, it was somewhat like a baklava, but with something else in it. It was almost red. Yeah,
I think it was either dates or plums, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Very interesting. It was the waiter's favorite, so we just went with it. Honestly, his decision was probably just as good as what ours was going to be, and it was good. That was probably, if there was any weak part of the meal for me, that was probably it. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think that those are really that common. But it was really good. So we actually called it a night after that because we had a 6:30 a.m. train. Well, a 7:14 train, but we need to be out of the hotel by 6:30. So
I do think Granada as a whole, we maybe didn't give it a fair shot at first because it was so crowded. October 12th is a national holiday in Spain for the day that Christopher Columbus found the New World. So we didn't realize that was such a big festival kind of day. So it seems everyone was off work and just out and about the night before and really the day of too. So it sort of cleared out a little after that and was much more pleasant, I think, the last night.
Yeah. if I ever am in Spain, I might give it another try. I think just COVID plus how crowded it was made it a little difficult, but it was a good time, good things to see, and now Sevilla. Adios.
Adios.